Welcome to Learn Something New Today. It's a podcast where we intersect entertainment and education and pretty much whatever I want to talk about. We have a special guest today. She's a chef. She's an influencer. She has two restaurants. She's a James Beard award-winning culinary uh, a person and a TEDx speaker. She did a text talk with me. Dayna Lee Marquez, thank you so much for coming on the show. I appreciate it. How are you?
Absolutely. Thank you for having me. I'm so thankful. You're my friend, and it's just so nice to be able to finally talk to you, just to talk.
Right.
Oh, I've been waiting for this shit. Sorry. Ooh. Uh,
You
I've
can
been waiting
curse.
for this
It's okay.
thing.
It's okay. You could be a real person here. We're all real people. Um, but you're doing good. I'm so glad you just recently opened up a new restaurant. How's
Yeah.
that been?
Terrible. It's literally been fucking horrible. I'm so sorry. I try to paint nice pictures for everybody all the time because that's what people want to hear. They want to hear that everything's so good, everything's fine. Don't do it. don't, don't do it.
Oh my goodness.
But but aside from the terrible parts that are often very terrible, um, there's also some really good parts. And I've had, I have 16 employees now. 16. I started my restaurant with me and my sister and one other person. That growth in itself is something that I try really hard to just appreciate and understand and respect because the growth speaks for itself. Um, I am my own worst critic. I am my own worst. I wouldn't want to be my friend. If I were not me, I don't know. It's a little dicey. Oh, I don't like it. But we're doing it one step and one day at a time, and it's so grueling sometimes, but we're doing it.
As long as it gets done. Now you live in South Carolina, but you're not from South Carolina.
I'm not.
Originally, what was the journey? Because usually we hear people leaving South Carolina to go to Texas, but you moved from Texas to come here.
I
What
did.
was that
Yeah.
journey like? And can you from the journey, what was the journey like coming to South Carolina and how did you get into the food scene here?
Okay. So I'm going to tell you real quick. I don't know if I could ever make that move again because I moved here when I was 24. I got in the car of my now husband and I was like, fuck it, we ball. And I looked at my mother out of she was peering outside of the window watching me leave. And I was like, girl, I don't know what I'm doing, but again, fuck it, we ball. There's no other, I have nothing else. But at 24, with my 2-year-old son strapped in the back seat and my 26-year-old boyfriend in the driver's seat, it just, at that moment, it seemed right. And it seemed like something that was what we needed to do. I'm so glad that I did it, but I don't know if I would have ever done that. Oh my God, at
Give me a
32
look.
years old, bro, at 32 years old now, you want me to give you all of my trust? Bitch. No. Bitch, no. But I'm so glad that I did. And I have been in spaces in my life before where I've been I don't know what I'm doing, but we're just gonna fucking figure it out. And they usually work out for the best. And again, so thankful that I trusted my gut. And that's my biggest thing is I've always listened to my gut. And I might not have a fucking clue. And I often don't have a clue. But if my gut says that we're going, we're going. If my gut says that that person is not your friend, that's not my friend. And listening to my gut has just been such an instrumental part of my entire career. I would not be here without my gut. You
Understand.
know,
Very cool.
like you
So
have to, and, like, as a birthday twin, you have to know. Like,
you know what? I forgot that we do share.
I
Now
don't forget. I tell everybody, I'm like, that's my birthday bestie.
we share
No,
the
I don't
same
say about that.
birthday, June 23rd. That's what's up.
Yeah, you have to
Cancer
listen to your
baby.
gut. You have to listen to your gut. If you don't, like, you're doing yourself a disservice if you don't listen to your gut. The gut was placed there before you were there. Like, the gut was already there. You know,
Right.
the gut is telling you where to go and what to do and how to, like, what. It's already telling you what. And if you don't listen, then that's on you. Like,
There's something more going on there, obviously.
exactly. Always. And like,
Um, mhm. I mean,
God,
like, so as far as your journey, like, how did you get involved in the food business? Did you do it while you were in Texas, or like
I've
how?
always been front of house. Like, I've always been the volume bartender. It was miserable. It was so bad. I don't like people in that capacity at all. I used to, and I used to be so good at it, and they loved me back. They were like, "Oh, girl, you know my regulars." But like, what it really came down to is that when I moved to South Carolina, I was like, "Oh shit!" Like, nobody eats tacos like the way that I eat them.
Mhm.
Like, it's like chorizo con huevo is not everybody's breakfast. What? It was recognizing that the food that I grew up eating was not what everybody else ate. And that's crazy. Like, how can you go one day without a taco? Like, I, no. And so we moved here, and my husband and my son were like, the food here is kind of different. And I was like, okay, well, we have to figure it out.
Right.
And that's where I kind of like connected my love for food, my love for my culture. I didn't even realize that I loved it that much. It was until I left it. Like,
Right.
leaving things are, that's when you like learn who you are, is when it's no longer accessible to you.
Mhm.
Holy shit, that was like, I didn't leave my apartment for 2 months, I'm sorry, 2 weeks after I left, after I got here. I was nervous. Like, everybody acted so weird. I didn't know what to expect. Like, I did not leave my apartment for 2 weeks after I moved here.
Right. And do you think that was because of just the culture shock of still being in the South, but being in a different type of South?
Absolutely. I'd never been around Colombians or people from Guatemala or people from any, like, all I'd ever been around was Mexican and like border Mexicans. So like, even white people, they, oh my god, they blow my mind. Like, white people to this day, been here going on 8 years, and they still blow my mind. Like, I'm kind of fascinated by all of the different cultures, and like, I didn't grow up around anybody who was not Mexican.
Right.
And like, I was always the white girl. La güerita, el tomate, because I was, the red face.
Right.
So I'm always the tomato. I'm always, X, Y, and Z. And that's fine. But at least I knew where it was coming from. Whereas here, even in Greenville, South Carolina, where you have like a multitude of languages that are being spoken and a multitude of backgrounds that are always like coming up. Whew, whew,
It's a shock.
it
So
is.
you get here, you don't leave your house, you have this culture shock. Then finally something happens where you're like, the rubber has to meet the road.
Yeah.
And did you start a food truck, or you told me the story before? I can't really remember it. Did you just start selling
I just
food, or?
started, yeah, no, my first pop-up that I ever did was in the parking lot of a chiropractor's office. And it was off of a folding table and electric griddles. And I did that for about 2 to 3 years. Like, I did it. Like, I did the hard ass work, you know, setting up the folding table, plugging in the electric griddle, getting the gas going on the propane for the grill. And initially what I started with was breakfast tacos, because I thought everybody ate breakfast tacos, but they don't. Like, apparently that's a big deal, and that's wild to me. Like, how do you not eat a fucking breakfast taco for breakfast? Like, what? Pero aquí estamos y es lo que es, está bien, entiendo. Pero para mí se me hizo como muy raro, como que no vas a comer un taco para estás desayunando.
So
¿Cómo que
basically,
no vas a comer un taco de chorizo con huevo?
for the people that
Weird.
don't speak Spanish, she said she came
Why
here.
are you not eating
Why are
chorizo and
you not
eggs?
eating breakfast tacos? Why are you not eating?
Exactly. Like it's so easy. You can go about your day with the taco in your hand. Like do yourself the service of
Right.
eating the taco in your hand. But all that to say, yeah, I started with breakfast tacos, and I was still working a 9 to 5. I transferred my job from Texas Roadhouse because I come from a chain corporate background. Moved it up here. Don't recommend doing that. That was bad. That was so bad, girl. Ugh. Está bien, está bueno. And then I was like, okay, well maybe I could do some like corporate situations. Maybe I could, you know, work on an Excel spreadsheet or some shit. Fuck no, absolutely not. And I was like, okay, well still have to like find a way to contribute to my family. I still have to be part of something. Um, and so even after that, like I was like, okay, let me sell these breakfast tacos on the weekend, like on somebody else's time, right? Like not my time. Like I wanted to, you know. And so I started at whatever place would take me. Literally begged, and conned. Definitely lied my way through a lot of things.
It's okay. Listen, we all got to hustle to get where we want to be, right?
Also, though, that's the thing, though, is that like I agree with you on that. Like sometimes people ask questions that they don't really give a fuck about the answer of,
True.
and like that's kind of dicey. And I don't mean to bring that to light, but I do mean that in the most honest of ways. Like, mm,
You're 100% correct.
you
Now,
know,
let me ask you, how did the restaurant come to fruition?
it was an accident. It,
Really?
like it was so bad. It was so bad. Oh my god. Literally, all I did is that I took a pop up and I gave it a roof.
Really?
Bad, bad. I didn't even touch like the fryer or the line that we now like could not operate without. I didn't even touch that for at least maybe like 6 to 8 months.
Really?
It scared me. It was so scary. Yes, of course. And now like my business could not operate without that. But I there was just so much fear.
Why were you scared? As somebody who came from
Because
like,
I don't know, Antonio, por favor, tienes que entender que yo no vengo de una experiencia donde yo tengo, like, I don't have culinary background.
okay,
Like, excuse me, my grandma was like, oh, like, tamales, menudo, this, that. And like, I know certain things, and I was just making things here and there. I
right.
was having a blast just doing a pop up, you
Mhm,
know? I
mhm,
had saved up my little coins. I was really fucking thrilled with myself, like todo eso.
mhm.
Pero cuando me das como que, cuando me reconoces, eso es diferente. Eso es muy diferente.
Uh-huh.
And it's like now it's like, oh, now there is an eyeball on you.
Right, 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 right.
Now there is somebody who is paying attention to what you're doing.
Mhm.
Don't fuck up. So my biggest fear has always been myself. I've always been my own worst like detriment by far.
Right. That's wild. So you open a restaurant, and one thing I really loved about your restaurant is that you kept it really simple. And I heard somebody told me that you didn't want to go into debt making a sign and like taking out loans. So you kept the restaurant super simple. Is that true?
It's never changed. I have two restaurants and I still don't have an investor. I still don't have a business partner. I still don't have a even a bank credit line.
Really?
And like honestly, I hope that this gets to somebody who wants to give me a little bit of money because at this point, like, I'm ready for it. But, bruh, like, no, porque mira, ¿sabes qué? No quiero que alguien me diga que, yo te dije, yo te di el dinero y tú
Right.
simplemente, like, no. If I fail, guess who fucking failed, bitch? I failed.
Right.
I don't owe you shit. And like, eso es lo que me cala lo más, es que yo tengo ese sentimiento como que, who knows how long this ride is gonna go.
Right.
I'm gonna write it. I'm gonna write it. I'm a writer. Like, that's who I am.
Mhm.
Pero no quiero que alguien tenga la oportunidad de decirme, si no fuera por mí,
Right.
no hubieras tenido esa oportunidad. I
You don't
will
want to give
never, like,
anybody else.
no, like, we can't do that. Like, I will cancel myself. I will
Right.
say the wrong shit. Absolutely. I will do the wrong thing. I will, X, Y, and Z. But nobody is going to tell me, if it weren't for me, you wouldn't have this.
Right. Right.
Never.
I understand. I could tell from the way, if you guys, if you're watching this on listening to this on the podcast on Spotify, she's like giving a very stern face that she will never
I'm
let anyone
sorry.
tell her
I'm being serious
that,
because,
yeah, and I
like,
respect it from your
yeah.
background. And now, one of the things I did notice as well is like when you walk into the first restaurant, you see a picture there.
Uh,
A restaurant. Who, I mean, I know who that is, but for those who don't, who is that? There's
it's
a
my
woman.
grandma. Esa es abuelita. Esa es Sarita. Sarita she raised me for the better part of the first, like, 4 to 5, 6 years of my life. She is my mother. She is my maternal grandmother. Um, the lady was married like 6 times. So, like, I love that because, like, as Latinos, women are not, like, typically married that many times. But, like, she was her own breed. Like, the woman went to sleep with, like, lipstick on her. Like, she was just different. Like, Sarita was Sarita. And I learned how to make my menudo and my tamales and, like, my family meals because of her. And she didn't really even like cooking that much. Like, she didn't even like it. But there's a big sentiment of, like, where I come from is Sarita. And she never settled for less than what she wanted. And her multiple husbands prove that. And that's okay. But, like, just what an honor to be her granddaughter.
Right.
For a woman who never settled for less than. I wish I would have taken that lesson, and I wish I would have applied it, like, earlier on, you know? Um, and now at 32, I see it, and I, like, recognize the value behind that a little bit more now than I ever did before.
Wow, that's beautiful. Now let's talk about the big award that you won.
Dios mío.
You won a James Beard Award. Now, for those who don't know, the James Beard Award is like the Oscars of the restaurant world, the Emmy
I
of
was nominated, yes. So I am a semifinalist for James Beard 2023. Definitely not done. I do plan to make, James Beard recognize my name again. But yes, you're very right. Like, I was getting a pedicure when that happened, Antonio. Por favor. Like, that was not, like, somebody was like, "Oh, congratulations." And I was like, "Bitch, you got hacked." Like, what?
right. It
Yo nunca tenía ese pensamiento. Nunca pensé que.
was never in your mindset. It was never in your thought process.
No, I put those people on the TV. Like, I look up to them, and, like, it took about a year for me to recognize that, you know what, fuck it, I do deserve it. Like, but in the beginning, I was like, ay, Dios mío, ¿qué estamos haciendo? Esto no es para mí, no me gusta esto para nada. Pero la verdad es, I am.
Right. The
I'm a
truth is
great chef.
that
Like,
you do deserve it. And
yeah, and it's just so weird to, like, accept that.
right.
Oof.
How do you think that it's hard for you to accept that with all the work that you've put in,
Porque
starting?
soy Latina, güey. I'm the oldest daughter. I'm the eldest daughter of 4 kids. I'm a Latina. Like, it's just, this is there is so many levels of like machismo and just old school
Mhm.
types of parenting that
Right.
no longer apply the same way that they used to. Um, it's hard to take any win like with appreciation because I wasn't raised to, and I'm not trying to blame my mom or my dad specifically, but it's the fucking truth and it is their fault. So here we are. Like it just comes down to always being sorry, always, not knowing how to accept a compliment. Like, oh my God, please do not compliment me because it's so weird. Uy, no me gusta, no me gusta, no me gusta.
Now, how was the process of being nominated for James Beard, and like what all did you have to do? Like what did they put you through?
I don't know. Like, I don't even know how I got nominated. I don't know how I got the nomination. I don't know how I made it through anything. I know nothing. I don't even know who nominated me. All I know is that every single fucking day I show up and I show the fuck out. And whether it means me showing up and showing out as a leader, as a chef, it could be so many different things. But every day I have to be better than yesterday. I don't know the process. I don't even like, maybe somebody knows the process. I hope that somebody who's watching this, I hope that they know the process. More power to you. All I know is that my biggest thing now is that I've got 16 employees. They need to pay their rent, they need to pay their mortgage. Me being a chef is such a nice thing. And I miss food the way that I used to touch it. But right now, my biggest job is to make sure that I give everybody jobs and everybody has hours and everybody is taken care of and everybody is, putting their best foot forward. I don't know how the James Beard happened, but because of the James Beard, my entire breaking life has changed. I've been, on the Food Network. I have done doing more Food Network stuff, by the way. But like my life changed, Antonio. Like it's changed. And I don't always know what to do with it. And sometimes I freak out and I stop myself. But at the end of it all, I have 16 people who are depending on me and I will not let them down. So the James Beard is less about me and more about the people that I can like amplify.
Right.
That's it.
Man, that's powerful, Dana. And for those who are listening to this or watching this on YouTube, I just want to let you know I know Dana personally, and the person who she is here is the person who she is on in real life.
Yes. I'm
So
so good at lying.
no.
I forget my lies.
Like even to the point where you give away free food at your restaurant.
Absolutely. We've done over 10,000 free tacos. Because food is not like a right, or food is not like a privilege. Food is a right. And so if I were to give away free food under the guise of just me doing it, I would not be able to like financially do it.
Right.
But if you put a business in there and you use it through the platform of your business, then I can do it because I can eat the labor cost, no problem. But $1 a taco when I'm already making tacos, like food is not something that we should be stingy about. If you're hungry, please come eat. Like you don't have to tell me about your problems or your situation. If you're hungry, you're hungry, and like I'll feed you.
Right.
Like how am I supposed to expect that you go out into the world, give the world your best when you're hungry?
Right.
That doesn't make any sense. How can I expect you to be a good citizen and like be a good steward of your neighbors if you're hungry? How am I supposed to have a neighbor, or how am I supposed to have a business that in my head is thriving in a neighborhood that is a food desert, but you're hungry? That doesn't
Right.
make any fucking sense. I'm sorry, forgive me, but fuck.
You are one of the very few people that kind of get it. But if you can like what is your like philosophy around food? I know you explained it a little bit when you were like basically, hey, I can't live with the fact that people are hungry. And you don't think food is a privilege, you think it's a right to have. Outside of your restaurant, what's developed your mentality for that? Like, have you seen things throughout life or
Yes. Oh my god. Okay, so I come from like eldest daughter, Latina, my mother's therapist. Yikes, rough. I was in a very physically um abusive situation when I was young, 17, 18, 19, 20. Had my son at 22, young mom, Um, but food has always been like a vessel to make people understand each other, even when they don't particularly have much in common. I've shared meals with people who I didn't like prior to the meal. I just didn't think that anything was, like, we didn't have anything in common.
Mhm.
But if you give me a fucking plate of carnitas, we will find something, and that's my biggest thing is we don't have to have anything in common, but if we share a plate, maybe we can find our inner humanity and we can find something to bond over. And like, especially with how, you know, current things are,
Right, 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 right.
I cannot, and like, it makes me very emotional porque soy mamá, todo me duele. Tú eres papá, tú
Yeah,
entiendes. Pero ahorita como que, güey, está bien pesadas las cosas, está bien pesado.
right,
Pero yo no puedo arreglar todo, pero te puedo hacer un plato.
right.
Y si en ese plato encontramos la
Human,
humanidad,
say, yeah,
porque yo no tengo las respuestas, güey, no sé qué hacer.
right.
Like, we are fucked.
What are you gonna do, right?
We
You know,
are so fucked.
for those of you who don't speak Spanish, Dana is basically saying when you can't save everyone, you can't help everyone, but when you share a plate with someone, you find your humanity. Um, and I agree 100%. Uh,
¿Qué más haces?
right,
Cocinas. Para mí, yo cocino. Eso es
right,
lo que yo hago. When I don't know what to do, I cook. When
right,
I don't know how to serve, when I don't know, like, I don't have a fucking clue, Antonio. I don't have a fucking clue. I don't know what to do. I can cook.
right,
And I can only hope that within that, we can find our humanity.
right.
Because things are like, we're kind of fucked.
World we live in is very upside down right now. And I honestly feel, when you, and I feel like this is to your point, when you are sharing a plate with someone, not necessarily just sharing a plate, but you're sitting down with somebody and you're eating their cultural food or and you're talking to them. There's something vulnerable about that. There's something that,
Absolutely.
yeah, there's something
Absolutely.
vulnerable about that because you can't just leave. And you see a lot of cultures where they eat communally. I know a guy who went to Afghanistan and
Yeah.
everybody just eats with each other. And he was like, it really shaped my mindset around how they are over there.
And
Um,
eating with your hands, like, has been such a thing that I've like recently leaned into. I grew up being told, like, oh, you have to eat with a fork, like that's what's proper. But I've done, private dinners with Nigerian chefs, with people who are accustomed to eating with their hand. And that to me is so beautiful because it's like the closest connection to the things that like nurture us. And if
100%.
we were just a little bit more in tune with ourselves, can you imagine what kind of impact that would make?
Yeah.
I mean, this comes from me, and I'm loud and boisterous and a problem. Like, I love to be problematic. I love to do all the things.
Right.
But can you imagine if, like, if we just gave ourselves a chance?
I 100% agree. And I feel like we live in a world where people lack nuance to specific situations.
Fair.
So quick to fly off the handle about every and anything.
Yeah.
Um, and so, I think, like you said, with a plate, it gives you time to reflect, and it gives you time to think about, because your mouth is full of food. It gives you time to think about what you're going to say next. So,
Yeah.
it's really one of those things where the world needs more food and more sit down conversations with food.
I
um,
feel like the more that you eat, the less that you have time to bitch. Like,
yes,
God,
yeah,
please. The
yeah.
amount of people who bitch on a day-to-day basis, I'm like, is everything okay at home? Because it's clearly fucking not. Like, God,
Yep.
fuck, Susan. I'm so sorry, Katie. What the fuck can I do for you today?
Oh my goodness, Dana.
I'm sorry.
No
You
need
know
to
who I
apologize.
am, though. You know who I am.
I do, and it's never, you never need to apologize for being the person that you are, because that's why I invited you on the show, because you are the person that you are, and I respect you.
I appreciate
Um, so, with that being said, we don't have much time left.
her.
What are the next plans? What are the next goals? You mentioned the Food Network. You just opened a restaurant. Is there going to be a third? Komal 8643?
I don't want to ever franchise because I know that that takes away from like the heart and soul of what I'm doing.
Right.
But I definitely think that the East Coast needs to have a Comal A64 in every nook and corner, just so you can understand what it's like to have like your mommy love you, like know what it's like to have like que tu mamá esté ahí, que te ame, que te dé corazón, que te dé amor.
Right.
Eso es lo que quiero. So I would love to see, there are plans for 4 to 6 restaurants in total. But I'm also getting older. Like, I'm 32. I know I'm very, very young. I get told to me that all the time, like, you're so young. And I know I am. I want to reach all of the people with my love and my affection that I possibly can on the East Coast. But your girl's also getting really fucking tired of dealing with all those same ass people. Like,
Yeah.
boring, you know. I'm going to give myself till I'm 40, grow as much as I can, focus on some retail because my seasonings, my spices, all of that, they be begging for that. And, I do it really well.
Right.
But at 40, I'll have an 18-year-old. I don't know. For now, I am everybody's biggest problem by far. Yes, do not count me out. But I don't know what's going to happen after I'm 40. For now, I'm going to work. I'm going to put my fucking nose to the fucking ground and I'm going to make sure that like people from the border are represented and like my Tejanas, my Latinas, my queer Latinas who never get any fucking praise at all because we are not from here, we're not from there, and then we're also not straight and we're also like, I will put in the work for us. And I don't know what's going to happen after that.
Yeah. Well, Dana, thank you so much for coming on.
Te quiero tanto.
Yeah, you as well. You know, this has been one of the best interviews that I've ever had. And I wanted to thank you for your time here today because, there's a reason I invited you because you would be your authentic self and you didn't
I
disappoint.
take you very seriously, and what you are doing is so fucking important for people like us. I thank you for being who you are and for always showing up the way that you show up. And it's just I could not share a birthday with anybody better. I love you so much.
Es un placer, gracias.
Claro que sí, siempre, mucho amor, mucha amistad. Tú sabes que con tu familia siempre tienes casa aquí, lo que sea, en lo que necesites. Aquí estoy.
Thank you,
Ya
thank you.
sabes.
But Dayna, thank you again. Oh, by the way, before we go, tell us where to find you. If somebody's in Greenville, South Carolina, if somebody's coming,
Yes.
give us your
Greenville,
address.
South Carolina. Please come out, come through. God damn, it's been slow. But Greenville, South Carolina, we are at 1112 Woodside Avenue, Greenville, South Carolina, 29611. And then we're also within city limits now. Within the last three months, we have opened up a second location. We have a liquor license at the new location, so our margaritas are out of this world. And we are at 219 West Antrim Drive, Suite C, 29607. See us, please. It's all love. Like, what a blessing to live this life. What a blessing.
Dayna Lee Marquez, thank you so much for stopping by. You have a wonderful day, okay?
You too. Bye bye, puppy.
Learn Something New Today is a podcast where we intersect education and entertainment and whatever myself or the guest really wants to talk about. If you like this program, give us 5 stars wherever you happen to be listening. And always remember, we do have a merch store, lsntoday.com. And you can follow myself on Instagram, TikTok, or any other social media platform at DefNotAnt. DEFFNOTANT. Add an extra T in there for TikTok. Somebody already took the original one. I'm Anthony Modesto Milian, your host. Remember, take care of yourself and each other.